Welcome to another edition of the Insider Recruiting Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, we usually like to do it on campus, all these videos outside. We started getting hit with some serious rain, so we stepped here inside the USA. What better place? Because this is a basketball edition. That's right, home of the Red Raiders. This is a basketball edition of the Hoop Scoop. So much excitement going on around the Red Raiders, both on the court and the recruiting trail. Most recently, huge addition of one of the top players in the country. At one point, I argued he was the most important recruit going right now, like of the current class. Micah Peavy, 4-star, 5-star, depending on which site you're on. But bottom line is one of the absolute top recruits, top talents in the country. 6'7", forward, wing type talent out of Duncanville. Played with Jemias Ramsey, plays for his father, David Peavy. Long relationship with Coach Beard going back decades. He committed to the Red Raiders earlier this week. Huge pickup. Joe, I know you wrote about what he brings to the table, what Tech is getting in Micah Peavy. What's your impression of his game?
Yeah, he's really a smooth operator is what he is.
Yeah.
He plays basketball at a very high polished level, considering where he is in his career. He's one of those guys that's game ready, Big 12 ready as soon as he hits the court here in Lubbock. And yeah, he's going to make just an immediate impact. Because there's so much talent that is going to be on that roster
already.
Depending on, of course, all the roster flux that you get these days. You can't necessarily project that he's going to immediately be in the starting lineup, but I mean, he may be. I mean, he's close. He's of that caliber. And if he's not, he's going to be high up in the rotation. He's even with as much talent as they're bound to have. Really, I think mainly a second and third level scorer, good mid-range game. He's certainly quick enough and athletic enough to get to the rack. He's got pretty good mechanics on his outside shot, but that's a little bit of a knock on him right now. I don't think it's really too warranted. I think you're going to see that jump shot come along. I mean, look at Ramsey.
Yeah.
He was considered sort of we don't know about his jump shot, and man, he's looking really good in that area of the game right now. So it's amazing what wonders take place when players come out to this coaching staff and start working with them,
The development here, I think, that's a huge selling point in recruiting. I mean, I hear recruits tell me all the time they want to be developed because they want to go to the league, even more than football, because I mean, a lot of these guys, especially the level that Tech's recruiting now, even guys like Micah Peavy, Jemias Ramsey, who we just saw his debut, Terrence Shannon, another top 100 4-star guy, they're looking at 1 year and going to the NBA. I mean, even if some will admit it publicly, some won't. But in the NFL, obviously you got to be 3 years out of high school to get there. I mean, in terms of college and being a recruit coming from the high school ranks. Basketball, it's right there. I mean, you're right on the precipice of going to the league, the premier league of your sport. So the development is even a bigger deal in terms of how fast can I get there? Can this program get me there? And I mean, if you look at what they've done with Zaire, with Jarret, possibly Davide coming up, the development they've done, it's a huge selling point for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, that's right. And I just can't imagine you're going to find too many places where you get immediate bang for your buck, as it were, as we've seen here at Texas Tech. I mean, you mentioned those two guys. We've mentioned the jump shooting development.
Right.
I mean, that's a big deal for getting to the next level is, do you have an NBA-ready jumper?
Right. Keenan Evans, look at his development with the jumper. He's a perfect example.
Exactly. So, I mean, if that's what you're looking for and if that's something that you want to develop, then this is a place that you have to consider very strongly. And that probably weighed in Peavy's decision to come here. There's lots of other stuff too, but that was probably part of it.
Another aspect that I really like about Peavy's commitment is pairing him with Chibuzo Agbo, the 6'7", more of the kind of like your throwback kind of. He's very close to being like a throwback big guy, power forward who you could throw it down the block, and he can work with his back to the basket and create like that way, which is really is almost extinct nowadays in college basketball, But he also has shown an ability to step out. He has a good touch on his three ball. He does have a perimeter game. So the pairing of those two top forwards in the country is really exciting, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right. Agbo is just kind of a blue collar bruiser down low, and Peavy has some elements of kind of a point forward type of a
Right.
guy. So that is an interesting pairing there. It really is.
And then another guy I'd be remiss if I didn't mention is Damari Burnett, who took an official visit to Texas Tech. He has a Final Four teams of Alabama, Michigan, Oregon, and Tech. You know, I recently put in a crystal ball selection for Damari Burnett to Texas Tech based off what I've heard. I'm not saying for sure that he's made up his mind. I have heard that he had a really good trip here. His mama, which is always important in recruiting, no matter the sport, had a really good visit here. And I heard that Texas Tech has a slim lead right now. Now, it's also been publicized that Burnett is not going to announce the decision until December, so we'll have to see if that's the case, if we have to wait for a little bit. But five-star combo guard, I know you've talked about him a lot. You've written about him, Joe. He brings a lot to the table. Obviously, being able to get a talent of his caliber would really put this class over the top.
Yeah, he's a spectacular player.
Yeah.
He really is. I think he's a surefire one and done. I'll go ahead and say that.
Okay.
If he wants to, we'd love to keep him around for 4 years. Right. You know, if he decides to roll that way. But just an extremely dynamic offensive player. You don't see too many guys with as much side-to-side ability to create that he has. I mean, he's a guy who can go laterally, and it's not necessarily wasted motion. I mean, you know, you like guys that go downhill, you know, and that's what Terrence Shannon is, for instance. He's a downhill player like you wouldn't believe. Burnett is a guy who goes laterally a little bit more in order to create space, and then he blows by. And he can really, really do that. He is a slasher, cutting across the lane, zigzagging back and forth. You're going to see a lot of that with him. He's extremely deft with the ball. He keeps that on a string, you know, and defenders are just kind of like, they don't know where he's going, almost always.
Those change of direction players are some of my favorite. You see it in the NBA, and those guys are masters of it, but the guys who could really do it at the college level, I mean, they can take over games.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. And he can shoot it from wherever you want to shoot it. He can knock it down. So, I mean, you've got that ability to get into the paint at will, and at the same time, fall back and hit the jumper as well. And you're talking about a guy as a freshman who could average, I don't know, 16, 17, 18 points a game. Wouldn't surprise me.
You know, this is kind of off subject a little bit, but we talked about development. Davide Moretti is a guy who, one of the biggest improvements I saw last year in his development is being able to change pace and be able to utilize that in his game to create his own shot. I look forward to seeing how that even develops even more his junior year this year, Joe.
Yeah, that's right. He's definitely got that working for him. He's always, it seems like, adding just a little piece here, a little piece there. He's got this behind-the-back deal that you started seeing last year. You saw it again last night against Eastern Illinois at one point. So, you know, yeah, he's just adding little components to his game just on a regular basis, which makes him a more valuable and a better player.
All right, Joe, we can go all day long with this, but we better wrap it up. Great stuff from you as always. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.